Distinguished Toastmasters and fellow members and esteemed guests, good evening. Welcome to Zumaridi Toastmasters Club meeting 121. It is my honor and privilege to serve as your presiding officer in today's meeting. Zumaridi Club was chartered in November 2020, right in the height of the global pandemic, a time when communication, connection, and leadership were needed more than ever. The word Zumaridi comes from Swahili meaning emerald, a precious gemstone known for its beauty, strength, and value. And just like the emerald, the club is a place where individuals are refined, polished, and transformed into confident communicators and impactful leaders. Zumaridi began as a corporate club within KRA, that is Kenya Revenue Authority, but has since grown into a vibrant, inclusive community open to the public, a true reflection of growth and evolution. We meet every second and fourth Monday of the month consistently, building excellence one meeting at a time. So to our esteemed guests who are joining us, I'll just give you a background of what Toastmasters is about. What is Toastmasters? Toastmasters is a global organization that helps individuals become confident public speakers, effective communicators, impactful leaders. Beyond that, Toastmasters is a safe space to grow, a platform to find your voice, a community that believes in your potential before you fully see it yourself. Here, you do not just give speeches, you build courage, we sharpen thinking, and develop leadership. You can as well unmute and join me in saying the Toastmasters promise. So as members of Toastmasters, we commit to attending club meeting regularly, preparing all projects to the best of our ability, providing helpful, constructive evaluations, serving the club as officers and role players, treating fellow members and guests with respect and courtesy, bringing guests to meetings so that they can benefit from the program, adhering to the guidelines and spirit of Toastmasters. We also have the up-and-coming TCON. That is the Toastmasters East African Conference from May the 15th all the way to 17th. A premier gathering of Toastmasters across the region. It is a platform for learning, networking, growth, and celebration of excellence. I encourage all members to actively participate and take advantage of the transformative experience. Let me now switch to the role of SA, if you may allow me. As your sergeant at arms tonight, I would like to outline a few housekeeping rules to ensure we have a smooth and professional meeting. Kindly ensure your microphones are muted when not speaking. Your cameras to be on when possible to enhance engagement. You maintain a professional and distraction-free environment. Naming convention: if you're a role taker, hashtag role _name _club. If you are visiting Toastmaster, hashtag VT _name _club. If you're a guest, hashtag guest _name. Role takers, kindly ensure you're prepared and attentive when called upon. All role takers are encouraged to use the official virtual background to maintain uniformity and enhance meeting experience. participate actively, support speakers, and most importantly, enjoy the meeting. Tonight, it is my distinct honor to introduce a leader whose work goes beyond speeches and into transformation. Our Toastmaster of the day is not just a communicator, he is a strategist, author, and habit coach dedicated to helping individuals and organizations unlock their full potential. He is widely recognized as a growth enabler, a teacher, and a transformational thinker with a passion for empowering people to challenge limiting beliefs and elevate their thinking. As a published author and a keynote speaker, he uses his voice not just to inform, but to provoke thought, inspire reflection, and drive meaningful change. Within Toastmasters, he embodies what the program truly stands for: growth through awareness, confidence through consistent practice, leadership through service. In fact, he describes Toastmasters as a space where individuals transform their thinking, build confidence, and become the kind of people who speak up and lead with clarity. And that is exactly the kind of leadership we need guiding us through today's meeting. Ladies and gentlemen, when a man who understands habits, mindsets, and transformation takes charge of a meeting, you can be sure that this will not be just any other session. It will be an experience. They say when the student is ready, the teacher appears. Tonight, Zumaridi, the teacher, is indeed here. Please join me in welcoming warmly our Toastmaster of the day, Mr. Edwin Moindi.
Thank you
Over to you.
so much. Thank you, Evans, for that. You have done a lot of justice to my name and much more. I'd like to just appreciate each and every one of you for making time to be here this evening. And I want to start by congratulating you for making time. My name is Edwin Moindi, and I have the distinct and plum pleasure of being your Toastmaster of the day. So I want to start with something very personal to begin with. There's a time in my life when I was very clear about my values. I would say I value growth, I value discipline, I value becoming better. And then I looked at my daily habits, and they were telling me a very different story. I said I valued growth, but I wasn't reading. I said I valued discipline, but I was negotiating with my alarm clock. I said I valued progress, but I was choosing comfort. But I realized something uncomfortable. I didn't have a value problem. I had a habits problem. So today, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to take a walk from intention to action. We want to turn those goals into micro habits that reflect your values. And the anchor today is you need to celebrate what you've accomplished and raise the bar a little higher each time as you succeed. Ladies and gentlemen, I want you to pivot to something slightly more. The agenda of this session is going to be, you're going to have a speech, table topics, a tip session, evaluation, general evaluation. And that is the structure of a typical Toastmasters event. But having said that, let's start with something that I posed to the role takers. And for everyone, I would like you to propose this thought. What is one small habit you practice or need to start practicing that truly reflects one of your core values? Think about that for a moment. What is that one small habit that either you need to start or you have been partaking of that truly reflects one of your core values? And I'm going to ask some of the role takers to indulge us in answering this question. Now let's start from the point of saying, what does our theme represent? And the truth is, values are invisible. Values are invisible. Goals, in many ways, are aspirational, and habits are the evidence that we see on a daily basis. Remember, what you hold as values might not necessarily be what matters to me. So, values at a primary level is what you think matters to you. Goals, on the other hand, are what you aspire, what you look at and want to have, and how it looks like in your mind. And most of us have audacious goals at the beginning of the year. But the question is, why is it that our goals never come alive? Is it because they are not tied to our values? Is it because we tie goals to things that are not important to us? And finally, habits are evident. What are you actually doing? And that's the core framework. Can we move from values to goals to micro habits? Because if your goals cannot become a habit, it will never become a result. And that's the reason why most of us struggle with this fact. Now, let me just take you back based on this core framework and say this. Remember, we move from values to goals to micro habits. And as we are transitioning through this, we will engage permanently throughout the session in engaging each and every one of us to be able to answer this. Now, I'd like to just indulge the role takers as we try and, this is not, it's not purely about a transformation happening alone. We need to have awareness, we need to have structure, and we need to have feedback in our lives. And what I want us to start off by is using the structure that is available to us, and that is the Toastmaster structure. And I'd like to introduce the role takers, starting off with Fiona Ibudi. Fiona Ibudi is our counter today, and she will help us notice unconscious habits, because awareness is the first step to change. If you're not aware of those moments, then, my dear friend, change might not be as close as you think. When I posed the question of the day to Fiona, she said, reading daily is a habit, and it reflects her core value, which is personal development. I'd like to invite Fiona to introduce her role and tell us what to expect from her today. Fiona, over to you.
Thank you very much, Mr. TMOD. Good evening, Toastmasters and guests. Crutch words typically have two attributes. They are overly used, and then two, they are usually meaningless. Not usually, they are actually meaningless. That's why they are called crutch words. As your accountant today, I'll be serving as an accountant. And as your accountant today, I'll be helping all speakers, or you could say support all speakers, identify words that take away from their or your speech. Words like so, and well. Now, some of these words could, if carefully used, would definitely add meaning to your speech. But sometimes we use them carelessly or as a way to manage our pauses, and they end up not being meaningful. I hope that we are all looking forward to learning what our problem words are, or to learn that we actually don't have any problem word. I pray we actually don't have any problem word at all. Back to you, TMOD.
Thank you so much for that. I want to amplify this conversation further by bringing in the grammarian today, and that is Sharon Kyomugisha. I hope I have not butchered her name. She will sharpen our language, because clarity in speech reflects clarity in thought, and that's what we need as we move through life. Sharon, over to you.
Thank you, TMOD, and thank you for pronouncing my name correctly. I appreciate that. Fellow Toastmasters and guests, as grammarian, it is my responsibility to pay close attention to all speakers today. I'll be listening carefully to their language usage, and I'll take note of any improper language as well as excellent usage. This can be in form of outstanding words, quotes, sayings, or figures of speech. And as grammarian, it is also my duty to introduce the word of the day. But thank you again, TMOD, because you've already nailed that. So the word of the day is amplify. To amplify means to make something stronger, louder, or more powerful, or to simply add details to the story. I encourage everyone present here tonight to use the word of the day. For example, in a sentence, the word can be used in form of, for example, the author used vivid pictures to amplify the story. I'll give a second example. The silence in the room amplified his growing anxiety. Please, please, please be encouraged to use the word of the day. And whenever it is used, I'll give a thumbs up. Please do the same. I'll appreciate that very much. And at the end, or towards the end, when I'm called again, I'll give the grammarian report where I'll say the number of times the word of the day has been used, as well as the general grammatic report. Thank you so much. Back to you, TMOD.
If you care to indulge us, Sharon, could you amplify some of your core values by telling us one small habit that keeps you going?
Oh yeah, one small habit that keeps me going, and I need to amplify that, is actually reading. I read quite a lot, and I try to listen to podcasts that are in line with what I would love to. In that way, I can amplify my message so that it can cover a wider audience. Back to you, TMOD.
Thank you so much. Two role takers who love reading for personal development. That is such a powerful statement for the rest of us to take home. Ladies and gentlemen, we then move to the timer, who's Jennifer Isoke. She will keep us accountable because discipline is built in structure. And I'd like to request Jennifer to share the expectation of her role and to tell us what is that one small habit that amplifies her walk in life.
Thank you, TMOD. Good evening, Toastmasters and guests. As timer, I'll be timing table topic speeches, formal speeches, speakers, and evaluations. I'll be also alerting the different speakers of the time they are left by using the green, yellow, and red cards, which denote the different times left for the different speakers. And TMOD, one of the characters, is it the character? I've forgotten the term you used, but I love research to keep abreast of the different informations I would like to keep up keep up to date with. Over to you, TMOD.
Thank you so much, Jennifer. Two readers and a researcher. We are doing quite well this evening. Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to only mention the Table Topics Master, who seems to be taking many roles, including the SAA today, and that is Evans Odima. But I will not give him the field to speak. I will also mention the General Evaluator, who will come again and present her role much later. Kindly, if you may, remember the question of the day. As we stand here, 25 of us, remember this is the question of the day. What is one small habit you practice or need to start that truly reflects one of your core values? Remember, core values. What is that small habit that you have in your life? Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to now transition on to the speeches, prepared speeches. As you listen, don't just listen for words, listen for patterns. Because behind every speech is a value, is a goal, and is a habit. I'd like to invite Kezabu Maureen to introduce Caroline Kirimi as our first speaker. If you may, Kezabu.
Good evening, Toastmasters and guests. Today, I have the privilege and honor to introduce and evaluate Kirimi Caroline. Kirimi is undertaking the Engaging with Humor pathway. Today, she will be presenting a speech on her Level 2, Project 1. The purpose of her speech or the project is for her to begin developing a collection of humorous stories and to present a speech that includes humor. I expect to laugh or smile during her speech. Kirimi, one of the notes to me today is that you completed this project and you worked to add humor to a speech through anecdotes and stories. The speech should not be a report on the content of what you went through during your presentation. Caroline Kirimi, well done. Well done, Caroline Kirimi.
Toastmasters and guests, good evening. I come to you straight from the very fearful because KPLC did the thing today, but the show must go on. Good evening, Toastmasters and guests. I wish you all had met me when I was 18 years old. I mean, I had just turned 18 and I was getting ready to dive deep into the pros and the wonderful life of being a fully paid KRA citizen in this great Republic of Kenya. And I was looking forward to it. I was ready to dive into the deep end of adulthood. And when I say dive into the deep end of adulthood, I do mean so in the literal way of liquid. And when I mean liquid, specifically liquor. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. I was looking forward. In fact, my then boyfriend and my friends had created a checklist of every nightclub, of every shanty, of every liquor store. We were ready to be anointed by the Spirit. We had even synchronized our calendars. I can see some of you are very afraid. Don't worry, it is not that kind of speech because there was some derailment. The next morning, I woke up and my mother alerted me that I had found a job. Before you're colored impressed that I was able to secure a job at that age, I had no idea as well. She was told by a friend of a friend who was apparently a friend of a friend that they needed someone somewhere, and that someone just happened to be me. And in that day, I had to pack my bags and head over to Sebit. If you don't know where Sebit is, just pin the location to Kitale. Once you arrive at Kitale, just take a left, keep taking a left, head over left, and when there is nothing left and you feel like you're in the middle of nowhere, congratulations, you are halfway there. Because that is where Sebit was located, in the middle of nowhere. And I could neither speak the language, and the people knew I was not one of them, but I was 18 years old and I was ready to swim in the great waters of the deep end. What was my job, you ask? I was taking care of chickens. I was to be a chicken farmer. Fun fact, do you know that chickens, just like me, are fearfully and wonderfully made? Because I was wonderfully and fearful of these chickens. I mean, when it was feeding time, we were all screaming in that chicken pen. They were screaming, I was screaming, we were all hoping it would be over. I could not even look them in the eye for the first 2 weeks. My routine for work was pretty standard. It was pretty quaint. I would wake up before even dawn had formed the slightest of a crack, and I would head over to the watering hole, which is just a fancy word for a borehole, and I would manually pull the jerry can from the abyss. I know if you're just seeing my teeth, but just imagine the abyss that I was pulling this jerry can from to fetch water and then go feed the chickens every morning, have breakfast, lunchtime. Before I took lunch, I had to go back, feed the chickens, pull the jerry can once again from the abyss, feed the chickens, clean up, the same thing during supper until it was time to sleep, which was around 7:30 p.m. A little opposite of what I imagine my friends are doing back in Nairobi, right? Nonetheless, I did have the best of mental health days when I was in Sebit, because you'd be asleep by 8:30 when I wanted to flex on the elderly couple that I was living in. You guys sleep at 7. I'll sleep at 8. I'm young. You don't know what I'm on. I would sleep at 8:30, and dark thoughts usually come around at 9 p.m. So by 8:30, I would be in bed and I'll be awake by the next day at 6 a.m. Other than the chickens, I'd like to introduce a new character, which was a heifer. This is not in a derogatory term. There was an actual cow, and she had the most beautiful eyes. I'm talking Osiris. They were full of wonder. They were endless, the vivid mosaic of space, and they were just amplified by her kind smile. I really liked that cow, and I saw myself in her, and guess what I named her? I named her Kangai. You can imagine I'm a chatterbox. So every time I would strike up conversation with my newly found friends, they'd be like, "Oh, what's your name?" I'm Kangai, and the conversation progressed. I'm like, "Oh, by the way, do you know we have a cow? She's called Kangai, and she's pregnant. She's expecting a baby." And I was so excited because I'm 18 years old. I have a new job. I'm going to be a grandmother. It was so much, but I was ready to walk into these shoes, and I was excited to meet my baby. However, if you've lived in the village, you know how broken telephone works, right? So I've told someone that there's this, I'm called Kangai, and there happens to be a cow, which is also called Kangai, which is pregnant. But apparently, as it propagated and diluted toward the broken telephone, it came to materialize and calcify that there's a girl called Kangai, and she is pregnant. I came to learn that later on, though. I had no idea from the beginning. One day, my host family, which means the lady, her child, and her brother, decided to go to the farm. Because I was taking care of the chickens, that means I had to remain in the compound, in the immediate compound, and just take a look over things while they came back later on. I was in the compound when this tall, dark, handsome man walked in. Don't worry, I was friendly with him. He said hi. I said hi. I asked him, "How are you doing?" He looked distressed. I'm like, "What's wrong?" He told me, "I've just met Kangai." And I'm like, "Yes, you have." No, he said, "Literally, do you know that Kangai is out there walking free, roaming free?" Oh my God, there's something I didn't tell you about Kangai. Not me, Kangai, the crazy cow Kangai. That's right, she was absolutely mad. I think Karate Chop came from this cow because we had searched everywhere in the fence. There was no hole. This cow was a ninja. I think it used to scale the walls and run away. We used to be in distress every time the cow had run away, and then he came and told me it's out there. So what did I do? I made a straight beeline to not where I was told it would be, but where it actually was, and I found it right there. Let me paint the picture clearly. It was a small town. There were maybe like 4 shops and like 20 people, and I was face to face with this cow, and I'm trying to tell, "Kangai, stop!" What did I do? I started running after the cow. What did the cow see? It started running away from me. So as we were running, I'm shouting, "Kangai, stop!" And then people are starting to form a small group, and they're yelling at me, "Kangai, stop!" In my head, they're talking to the cow because I'm talking to the cow. And as the cow is dodging cars and motorcycles, I'm getting worried. Remember, the cow is pregnant. I'm like, "Kangai is pregnant. Don't hit the cow." They're also yelling the same. It took a man to actually physically stop me and tell me, "Stop. running. And I'm trying to explain to him, you don't understand. This cow has brought us troubles. It has been eating the plants for the neighbors. We have been paying fines. The chief is going to come for us. This cow is going to come for us. I'm going to prison. I need to catch this cow. And as I was catching my breath, that's when I realized, oh, the cow has stopped. And that's when he told me, you actually don't have to run after the cow because you can't outrun a cow. Just walk after the cow and grab its rope and head back home. And that's what I did. Finally, after walking quite a stretch, I took the rope and we started heading straight into the shambas, running away home because remember, I'm supposed to be home with the chickens and no one knows that I'm gone. Ladies and gentlemen, as I conclude, I had quite an adventure in Sebit. And when I came back to Nairobi, I was exchanging stories with my friends and they were and I was asking them, hey, how was it like? They're telling me, oh, nightclub has been fun. There's been jumping from club to club. I'm like, I've also been jumping from farm to farm. They're telling me, oh, sometimes they have to rush back before their parents know they're back home. I'm like, I also had to rush back before they knew that Kangai had gotten free. It was amazing coming back, and it all came back full circle that end of the year when we had Kangai over for Christmas. That is right. She was the main course meal and she was delicious. I'm telling you, tender, beautiful, decadent beef rib eye steak. And if you're wondering, Caroline, you went to Sebit to work in a job. You've not mentioned anything about what you were doing. I want to reassure you, to maybe any future employees in the room, I did my job the same way I ate Kangai that Christmas. It was well done. Back to you, Toastmaster Edwin.
Let's put our hands together for Kangai. That was funny. That was engaging. That was just a time warp for me. Time just flew by. At 18, waiting to be a KRA paying citizen, only to discover yourself in Sebit and running after Kangai, who became the main course at the end of the year. Thank you so much for that humorous speech. I'd like to now segue on to our next speaker. And I'd like to invite Eric Wanjohi to introduce Winfred Okoth, if you may. Eric?
Timothy?
Am I?
Was a little change.
There was a little change. Okay, so who
Our next
is?
speaker will be George.
So Winfred is not here. And I assume Angela is the evaluator.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
So Angela, if you may, please introduce George Arogo's speech.
Thank you, TMOD. I am delighted to evaluate George Arogo. He's pursuing the dynamic leadership pathway, level 1, project 2. The purpose of his speech is to motivate the audience to identify key areas that they are misusing their time and take immediate action to reprioritize it towards meaningful long-term benefits. What do I expect from George Arogo? I expect a well-organized speech. That is the body, the introduction, conclusion, a speech that relates very well with the title. And again, I'll be looking out for those areas that are so captivating or amplify someone's desire to quickly take immediate action and do something about their time. George is a member of Smart Speak Toastmasters Club. He currently finished his presentation mastery pathway. He is an accountant by profession. The title of his speech is the currency of time. George Arogo, the currency of time.
An American author, Michael Alschuler, once said, "The bad news is time flies. The good news is you are the pilot." If time were money, how rich would you be? Every day, you are credited with 24 hours. No savings, no rollover, no overdraft. Spend it wisely and your life compounds. Waste it and it disappears silently. Today, I invite you to reflect on how you spend the currency of time. You don't have to be great to start, but you have to start to be great. American author Zig Ziglar. When I started working, I had freedom, choice, income, but I lacked awareness, especially when it came to my lifestyle choices. Fast food, junk food, anything convenient, I consumed. Until one day, I met my brother. My brother looked at me and rebuked me because I was overweight. Honestly, that was not the kind of performance review I was expecting. Have you ever been busy but not productive? Inspired by author Stephen Covey, I began to shift. Because what we prioritize today determines who we become tomorrow. But knowing is never enough. The best time to plant a tree was 20 years ago. The second best time is now. Chinese proverb. And maybe you've been there too. And I started small. Weekend jogs. 1 hour every weekend. Feeling my breath become stronger with every step. And this reminds me of the 5-time NBA champion, Kobe Bryant. Kobe's Mamba mentality wasn't about motivation. It was about discipline. Not occasionally, not conveniently, but consistently. Those jogs became my version of that mindset. Because procrastination whispers, later, but discipline declares, now. Over time, something amplified. The last time I checked, my metabolic age was 15 years younger than my actual age. For once, I had scientific proof. I actually felt younger. But here's the truth. I did not have more time. I simply reallocated my time from short-term pleasure to long-term health, where I could see and feel, from spending to investing. Because when we invest wisely our time, eventually it pays dividends. Time is not just passing, it is pricing your future. Every choice you make, you are either spending or investing the currency of time. I once lacked awareness. Today, I choose to spend my time consciously. The next time you say, I don't have time, ask yourself, is it time you really lack, or is it priority? Back to you, Toastmaster of the Day.
Ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together for George as he takes us through the very essence of our theme today. I'd like to appreciate the fact that George is 15 years younger than he was a couple of years ago, meaning that he has been able to master time and the currency that it holds. He told us about awareness and the need for us to be more aware. And that brings about the need for you to know your values, the need for you to restructure your goals accordingly in order for those micro habits that George took into his life and eventually paid off in his health, in seeing time slowly turn back. Ladies and gentlemen, put your hands again together for George as we celebrate that speech. I want to now move on to the fourth speaker, and I want to invite Ebenezer Makori to introduce Rose Odundo onto the floor. Ebenezer, are you there?
Yes, I am.
Excuse me. Can you hear me?
Sorry?
Yes.
Can you hear me?
Yes, Rose, I can hear you.
Okay, yeah, this is Rose. I had mentioned to Evan that I am driving back home and I will join in later. I thought I would be the fourth speaker. So kindly continue if you will, and I will inform you when I get there. I'm not too far off. I can join in a little later.
Not
I
a
might
worry.
need around 2 minutes.
Not a worry. We could jump into the table topics if we don't have another speaker lined up. Do we have another speaker lined up?
We do have another speaker, Mr.
Yes,
TMD.
oh,
Cedric
Okay.
Odechi will be introduced by Rama Sali.
Rama, if you may, please introduce Cedric to the audience. You said Rama? Rama is here? Let me just confirm that. I might be calling someone who's
Yes, Rama is
not
here.
present. Rama, are you here?
Me?
Can we hear you? Is your video on?
No, my video is not on.
Okay. Rama.
Please allow me not to see this one. Good evening, fellow Toastmasters and invited guests. I'm honored to evaluate an ardent and dedicated Toastmaster who is a finance professional and was able to complete the 5 levels in his Toastmasters journey despite the obstacles and setbacks. But Cedric Odech did it. Odechi is attempting reflection of the path, projects, and the presentation mastery pathway. The title of his speech.
I think Rama has dropped off. But if we may, let's put our hands together for Cedric Odechi as he presents his speech. I'm sure Rama will come back. Cedric, are you ready?
Yes, I am ready.
Over to you.
Have you ever walked into a room, curious, intimidated, and even felt anxious? A room whereby your confidence starts to go, your voice starts to matter, and your potential starts to unfold. That was me. I invite you to walk with me, my Toastmasters journey, a journey shaped by 3 powerful lessons: power to begin, commitment to go, and power of challenging yourself. On 17th of January 2025, I walked into my first Toastmasters meeting as a guest. It was at Elevated Toastmasters Club. I remember seeing people delivering well-crafted speeches, others delivering evaluation. I sat down asking myself, will I be able to do this? After the meeting, I spoke to various club officials. However, I did not join immediately. Life happened, priorities shifted, but I told myself, I will come back later. At the end of September 2025, I made a decision to become a registered member. That is where I chose growth. And growth does not just happen automatically. It requires an action. For me, the action was my icebreaker speech. On 15th of October 2025, I delivered my first speech. I remember the feelingness, the nervousness, the racing thoughts, and the question in my mind, will I be able to do well? Nonetheless, after the speech, the applause, the encouragement, and a realization that that was a safe space to learn. After that, I embarked on level 1, whereby I did a total of 5 speeches and a couple of roles. I learned how to structure a speech, to deliver a speech with purpose, and I also learned how to evaluate. Afterward, I jumped into level 2. Here I began by understanding my communication style. I later did the project of using body language effectively and completed with a project of introduction to mentorship. In level 2, I learned what you say is as important as the way you say it. Tone, pace, and pause. On 15th of December 2025, I completed my level 2. 2 days later, on 17th of December 2025, I took part in what was one of the defining moments of my journey, the club contest. I participated in 3 categories: the table topic, international speech, and evaluation contest. When the result came, I finished third in the table topic, second at the evaluation, and first at the evaluation contest. In December, I took a short commercial break and resumed in January 2025. Here I am back on level 3. I started by doing a persuasion speech, which introduced me to how to deliver a speech and persuade the audience to buy into your idea. I later did a project of active listening, whereby I understood how to listen is important because you listen to understand and not to respond. I also introduced myself to doing a TMOD role, which was on how to run a meeting effectively. I completed level 3 in January 2026 and embarked on level 4. At the start of February, I also was preparing for the area contest. At the same time, the club entrusted me with acting as the vice president in charge of membership, as the kind one head flew to a different continent. I had to balance growth, responsibility, and expectation. On 28 February 2026, I participated at the club, at the area contest. I stood on the stage representing the club in front of a bigger audience. I finished second at the Area 14 evaluation contest. I also enrolled for the last mile challenge. This was a challenge whereby a group of Toastmasters across the district were delivering a couple of rows and speeches. I enrolled for the Gold Award. In March, I embarked on level 4, whereby I started by doing a project of managing a difficult audience. I also did a project on Q&A, whereby I learned how to listen to questions and respond. On that 1st March, the last mile challenge was closed, whereby I won the silver award, having done 4 speeches and 11 Rose. In April 2025, I embarked on my level 5. Here I did a keynote speech whereby I learned how to speak professionally to a group of people and for an extended period of time. I also did a panel discussion. Here I learned how to effectively moderate a panel, including time and allocating time to the panelists. On 15 April this year, I completed level 5. From a guest to a confident communicator. From January 2025 to April 2026. This has been a journey of courage, commitment, and courage. Toastmasters and guests, your next level is waiting. Your next journey is waiting. Your next fee is waiting. But this requires one thing, a decision. A decision to begin, continue, and grow intentionally. I challenge you with this. Do not just attend, participate. Do not just participate, challenge yourself. Do not just challenge yourself, grow intentionally. Because one day you will stand here confident, transformed, and ready to tell your own story. TMOD.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's put our hands together for Cedric Odechi, who has been able to scale many surmountable or insurmountable bridges as he has elevated to where he is. He spoke to us about being able to move intentionally, being able to challenge ourselves, being able to move in a very intentional manner that allows us to choose growth over anything else. It requires us to have action. It requires us to stand beside the nervousness and the feeling of inadequacy that may rule against us, but still move as we should in those micro steps that he shared. Thank you so much, Cedric. Our final speaker today is Rose Odundo, and Ebenezer Makori is the evaluator. Ebenezer, if you may, please share the expectations of Rose's speech.
I will still ask for more time. You can continue if the tip session is on. I'm in a small light jam. I need a few more minutes, kindly.
Okay. Given that, then we can proceed on to the table topics. I'd like to request that Evans, in respect of time, to shred the table topics to a slightly fewer questions per se, so that we can keep our time accordingly. Over to you, Evans.
Thank you, Mr. TMOD. The grammarian would like us to amplify, but yeah, I'll shred it a bit. We all have intentions, we set goals, we make plans, but the real question is, why is it so hard to follow through? Why do we promise ourselves change only to fall back into same patterns? Tonight, Table Topics challenges us to confront that gap, the space between what we intend and what we actually do. Because in the end, we are not defined by our intentions, we are defined by our actions. May we amplify those actions. For the benefit of our guests, Table Topics is the impromptu speaking session where participants respond to a question without prior preparation. Each speaker will speak for 1 to 2 minutes. The goal is not perfection, it is to think on your feet, express your ideas clearly, and grow in confidence. Tonight, I invite you to be honest, to reflect, and to speak your truth. So to set an example for guests, I would like to start with the seasoned Toastmasters. Okay. Baron Ochola. Is Baron Ochola in the house?
Yes, indeed, Baron Ochola is in the house, and he suspected he's seasoned as well.
Perfect. What is one value you claim to live by, but struggle to consistently act on? Why? What is one value you claim to live by, but struggle to consistently act on? And why? Baron Chola.
Apparently, I'm one of the most disciplined people that most people have met. Keyword, apparently. The Toastmaster of the day and I share one very big quality, which is we get on the road and we do long runs for no reason. And like the Bible says, it's only the wicked who run when nobody's chasing them, but that is who we are. And with that, I've consistently been able to run marathons, believe it or not. I've run ultras. And at the risk of sounding like I'm blowing my own trumpet, I have run in 100-kilometer ultra, and that was in about 17 hours of running. And still, I feel like I am not that. I'm not disciplined. I don't think I am, because I procrastinate. I fall short on a lot of things. When you tell, for the lack of a better word, an everyday person who doesn't run that you do all these things, they look at you like, that's not normal. You must be from another planet or something of the sort. This year, I took on a challenge of running or walking 3 kilometers every day. By the time it clocks midnight, you should have handed in 3 kilometers. And today is day 117 out of 365 days, consistently at it. Looks like discipline. I say I'm disciplined, but to be honest with you, in my mind, I really don't think I am. I mean, that's just one aspect. Other aspects are there as well. Discipline is that value a table topics master.
Thank you, Baron. 117 kilometers. Wow. Is Faith Bosibori in the house? Faith Bosibori.
Yes.
This goes to you. Can you share a moment when your actions did not align with your values? Can you share a moment when your action did not align with your values? And what did you learn? Faith Bosibori.
Thank you so much for the question. I can say there is a moment at my workplace where I'm supposed. My actions are that there was a rule from the top management that each and every colleague of ours is supposed to receive the advance salary on the 15th and not later than 15 or earlier than 15th. So there is one of my colleagues who, in an emergency, he came to our office and requested to be given an early advance before the date of 15th. So I was like, can I approve for him to receive the advance? But that was something that was discussed by the management that we are not supposed to give an advance. So at the end of it, I and my other colleague were able to approve because of the emergency that we had. So that was one of the actions that did not match with my values at work. Yeah.
Thank you.
You will compromise our values and integrity for our friends. Wow, so good. The next one will go to one of our guests, guest Alvin. Guest Alvin, are you in the house? Guest Rosemary. Is Rosemary in the house? Now, guest, kindly don't be shy. Don't be shy. Wairimo. Is Wairimo with us? Chelangat. Chelangat Marine.
Hi,
Wairimo, how are you?
I'm doing fine. Sorry, I'm in the house, but I'm commuting.
Okay.
Yes, I'm finding it a challenge to contribute, but I'm all ears.
Are you able to do a table topics?
Uh, maybe in the next 5 minutes. I'm almost home.
All right, okay.
Okay.
Toastmaster Chelangat, are you with us? We have Rachel Karimi.
Hi, good evening. I'm here.
Hi, how are you?
Fine, thank you.
This one goes to you. If someone observed your daily habits, what will they say you truly value? If someone observed your daily habits, what will they say you truly value? Rachel, over to you.
So, if someone were to watch me every day, they would notice that I really value cleanliness. I spend a lot of my time organizing things and making sure everything is in order. And this includes the work I do. Whenever I do my work, I make sure I'm doing it in an organized way and my workplace is clean to enable me to do quality work. And when they observe me at home, they will see the cleanliness they'll observe is I make sure my environment is clean when I use equipment or items, I put them back to their places. So that's something someone will see I observe in my daily routine. Another thing they might see is that I am consistent. I have a routine and I consistently follow the routine. So that's something else they will observe, like, in my daily routine. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you for that, Rachel. That is my time. Back to you, Mr. TMOD.
Thank you so much, Evans, for running this session as efficiently as you have done, and for every single person who stepped forward to do a table topics. Speaking is one of those things that many of us are afraid of. It's right there close to death. Literally, you'd rather die than speak. So every person who has been able to speak today, I celebrate you for what you've done. Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to now take a step back and find out if Rose is in the building. Rose, are you done with traffic?
Rose is at her gate. She needs a few minutes to set up.
Rose now. We are
I
running.
can do it.
Okay, I can see Joyce is coming in, so I'll probably.
Let Joyce come in. Hi guys, how are you? It's fine. It's good to see you. Is that better? Yeah. All right. All right. Thanks a lot. Yeah, I was thinking the tip session could, or you want to give people a 3-minute break as I put my machine up.
I think the tip session can proceed.
I think so, and by that time I'll have set up.
Yes, yes.
My machine is actually
Joyce.
on. It's just a matter of putting it up.
Okay. Joyce, are you with us?
Sorry.
Yes, I'm actually logging in as well. I have just come in, so I am
Good
just
stuff,
also
good
setting
stuff,
up.
good stuff.
Yeah.
We are loving the background. We call it pleather or leather, depending on where you come from. Welcome,
Yeah.
welcome, Joyce. It's one of those lovely evenings, and I'm hoping that you will energize us with something new, something invigorating. Are you ready for us?
Yeah, just give me 2 minutes so that I just open my presentation. Meanwhile,
Yes.
Edwin, you can tell us something about a recent feature that I saw you put up. You were speaking, I think, about childhood. I think the last post I saw. So meanwhile, as I open, maybe you can re-emphasize on that, because I liked that.
Childhood.
Yeah, the one that you were speaking, yes.
That must have been ages ago. She needs to. That must have been like 5 months ago. That's the last one you saw. Having said that, ladies and gentlemen, let me just dive back in onto what I call the journey of intentional actions. I don't know how much time you're going to give me, Joyce, because I might fail in the time department if I start presenting. How many seconds do you need? Are you ready?
I can give you my 2 minutes. Only
Right,
2.
2 minutes.
I'm just opening.
So, ladies and gentlemen, there's one thing I wanted to share, and that is insight without action is entertainment. But insight applied is transformation. Many of us, we have a lot of information that is shared with us. In fact, this is one of the generations that has most of the information available through time. But the question is, given all the insights that you have, what are you using it for? The last 2 or 3 days, how many podcasts have you listened to? How many TikToks have you listened to that for 2 minutes inspired you out of your wits? So yes, insights we have, but no, we have no action. Today, I want to insist upon the need for us to start those small steps that require us to move forward. If you have listened to the speakers prior, Cedric spoke of the small intentional steps he took and even graded them based on the wins that he had individually for himself. If you had George Arogo speaking and you look at him, you see that 15 years have been shaved off his life precisely because of intentionality. And of course, the humorous Caroline spoke quite humorously about going off the kilt and working in a farm. But intentionally, you see what she had or was imposed in doing just to save her from the travails of young and exuberant life. Ladies and gentlemen, it is one of those moments when we have to posture ourselves and realize, as Toastmasters, the insights that we are getting are taking us nowhere without intentional action. And that's why we are here tonight. Over to you, Joyce.
Thank you, Edwin. Please clap for our Toastmaster of the day. That was on point. Thank you. So can I get co-host right so that at least I can share my presentation? Well done, Edwin. It's always a pleasure to listen to you. And good evening, Toastmasters and guests. I am so elated to be at Zumaridi. I always love being at Zumaridi. I always get to learn something new, and I love your background. Well done, well done. I am elated to be here.
So today I want to just speak on something that I know it touches most of us as Toastmasters. I'll be speaking about mentoring for leadership development. Allow me to share my screen and let me just know once it's up.
It is up. We can see the presentation.
All right. So I know in all of us, at some point, you've had a mentor in your life. And just to indulge me in the chat, just type, let me just know what you think. Who is a mentor? In your own words, who is a mentor? And I think at some point I'll read your responses to just see who is a mentor to you. Do you have somebody that you have amplified to be a mentor? Thank you, Ivaleta Makori, one who shows the way. Yes. Let me just read 2 or 3. Please keep them coming in the chat. One who guides, yes. S.A. Evans Odima, thank you. Rachel, someone who guides you in a specific path of your choice. Thank you. Winfred, a person you look up to and they hold your hand. All those are correct, in my opinion. And so we say mentoring is a powerful two relationship that all of us, we want to grow from. In this life, you cannot grow without a mentor. And I'm glad to say my mentor is in the house. He's Dan Odero. We have worked with him since I joined Stanbic Blue Eagles. They helped us charter. It's really been a journey. I joined in 2021, and to date, we have worked with Dan Odero. I can tell you he's a good mentor. He's somebody who pushes somebody. When you feel like you want to relax, he reminds you, hey, you're still a Toastmaster, so you can only take a break for such a long. So mentoring is a powerful relationship where we experience a person and the support experience individual. It is basically a relationship between a mentor and a mentee. And in this basis, for you, a mentee, you have an upper hand to learn from the mentor. However, the mentor is also a person to guide you, but he listens more. You as the mentee, you are the person who will drive this bus. And so what are we saying? That mentors, they offer advice, they share their knowledge, they also help mentees navigate challenges while mentees benefit from the mentor's aspect. Because in all this, you as a mentee, what do you want to achieve? Because that is what will drive this conversation. Allow me to just highlight characteristics of a good mentor. So we say a good mentor, they are good listeners. You as a mentor, when you're taking up the role of a mentor, you need not to be interruptive. When the mentee is speaking, you can only guide after that person has spoken. You're also responsible in giving constructive feedback. Remember, in Toastmaster, we say feedback is a breakfast of champions, and it is also a gift. So we are saying that we have to give constructive feedback, feedback that will help your mentee. They also take personal interest in their mentee. Every so often, they need to meet and understand what is the requirement of a mentee. What trajectory are you willing to continue to learn? They're also enthusiastic about their role. They are passionate. You should see Dan when I am seated like this, and then he's like, Joyce, where are we? What are we doing? So they are so enthusiastic about their role to ensure that their mentees are moving in the right direction. They also treat others with respect. And what does this entail? It means if you're meeting for 1 hour, you cannot sit and meet for 2 hours. Remember, George, thank you very much for reminding us today about time management. So if we say our meeting is 30 minutes, please let it be 30 minutes. If you are having coffee for 1 hour, please do not spill it to 2 hours. Otherwise, other things will go wrong, and that meeting will start becoming boring. There are also skilled teachers, because mentors need to go ahead and learn, especially if it is with the new pathways. You need to have gone ahead and learn what is this pathways about, so that when you're coming to sit with your mentee, you're able to, and the person is able to understand what you're saying. They also demonstrate for the employee that they're mentoring. So in everything that they are doing, the interest is the mentee. The mentee also should be able to tap from the knowledge of the mentor. So the key roles of a mentor include their advisors. I'm liking the responses that I saw in the chat, because this is just a summary of them. They are role models. So in whatever they do, they lead from the front. So if you're a mentor, you cannot tell a mentee something that you're not practicing. There's also a relationship between a mentor and a coach. There is a thin relationship, but as a mentor, you also need to depict the characteristic of a coach, because that will enable you as a mentee to grow. There are also sponsors. Sometimes when you go out for these functions, a mentor would want to sponsor you in some functions that he wants you to grow, like maybe a contest, maybe to advise you on some of these meetings where you can attend and grow as a person. There are also counselors and an advocate. And what do I mean by an advocate? They can stand for you. They can vouch for you. When they want maybe an evaluator somewhere, they can suggest, Edwin can be a good evaluator in that role. Makori can do a good job in that role. So they are your advocates. So have a mentor, a mentee relationship where you trust each other, where you can be able to have a good relationship. So some of the key aspects of mentoring include, there's the guidance and support. I can't overemphasize about this, because it's about guidance, it's about holding somebody's hand and showing the way, and more so supporting. Sometimes Toastmasters can be stretchy. Sometimes Toastmasters can be a bit strenuous. You can all attest, nowadays we are very busy. We are mothers, we are working. Sometimes we are needed here and there, so we need somebody to always guide and support you. It's also an aspect of knowledge and skill transfer. So whatever skill that you're having that will make your mentee better, ensure that you pass it to that. And also personal growth. It's an aspect of growing, not just in Toastmaster, even in leadership where you're working. Nowadays, I have learned that some key aspects I'm learning in Toastmasters, I'm taking it back to my place of work, because it has helped me. In making such presentations, it has helped me. And even standing in front of people and expressing myself, it's a very, very good aspect being in Toastmasters. I also mentioned about that it's a two-way relationship. So a mentee, you'll need to reach to your mentor, and a mentor will also reach to a mentee. So it has to have a balance between both of you, and also include and increased self-awareness and confidence. So every time as a mentee, sometimes we tend to sit back and we chicken in, but a mentor is just out there to just show you that you can actually do this, giving you the confidence. Please do this. Go ahead and try. And even going ahead and giving you the tips on how to succeed in that. It will also give you career and personal development. It will show you how to choose your career very well. I have learned the pathways that we are having in Toastmasters, dynamic leadership, the presentation mastery, all those things, engaging in humor. They will give you a chance to be a better person outside Toastmasters, in the society out there where you're leading, if you align it with what you're learning, I can assure you, you will not be the same person. Also, overcoming challenges. Sometimes I thought back, I wouldn't be able to speak so many words without first of all hesitating. And this reminds me when I did my icebreaker. My God, those 4 minutes looked like a whole eternity. I spoke about motherhood. I have never forgotten. But at some point, I had to even take a prop to ensure that some 3 seconds have ended. So that now those 4 minutes seemed like eternity because it was an icebreaker. I was all sweaty. And I can also remember my first contest. Can you guess who were my challengers that day for my evaluation contest? Dan Odero, Emily Manjero, June Keriri. Can you imagine? I was only 1 year old, and those were my champions. Man, of course, my name was not even in the top 3. That one I can confess. But do you know what that did? It gave me confidence the next year. I had a chance to contest. But let me tell you, the challenges that we take in Toastmasters, they help you overcome the challenges. Please laugh. I know it's not easy. So, in summary, so what are we saying in summary? And that's what I like about Toastmasters. Even if when things are tough, we don't laugh at each other, we actually encourage. And the next time you're able to stand and also be in the lineup. So, mentoring is more than guidance, it's about empowerment, it's about trust, it's about growth. So, a mentor that works alongside each other. So, both of them, they help to grow, to discover their own potential. Your mentor, you may be surprised, you can actually, during your conversation, have something that can help him as a person. And you also get help from that conversation. Effective mentoring also requires discipline and consistency. I have a challenge with my club. I ask them, what are your words? And I'll challenge you today. It's the first quarter. We're already done with the first quarter. We are starting May. Do you have your word for the quarter? Mine are 2 from January: discipline and consistency. In everything that I am doing, it's about discipline and consistency. Take that one word and run with it. It will help you go far. Mentoring is about being empathetic, and ensuring that there is support and meaningful relationship. So today, my dear guests and Toastmasters, as you continue being a mentor, being a mentee, take somebody, mentor someone. You as a person, you will grow. It's not just about you being a mentee and being guided. You can also mentor someone around. And even as you mentor, your journey goes a long way ahead. My teacher back then, when I was growing up, when you are asked a question and you repeat it many times, imagine you having 10 mentees or having 5 mentees. Don't you think you'll be a superstar mentor? Because you will be learning, all of them are taking up different pathways. So if you have a mentee who is doing presentation mastery, another mentee who is doing dynamic leadership, another mentee who is doing humorous, can you picture yourself the kind of a person you will be as a mentor? And even as a mentee in that relationship, you'll also be able to learn so much. And every other time you're growing as a person. So, as a challenge to you people, ensure that you're learning something every single day. And another challenge I'll give you, to grow in Toastmaster, spare 15 minutes every single day to learn something new about Toastmasters. And you will never be the same, because every single day there's something to learn in the new pathways. So, in all that, I will say and end with a quote: a mentor empowers a person to see a possible future and believe it can be achieved. Because all of them, that is what we are looking to, that everything is possible. And with that, I bring my presentation to a close. And all of you endeavor to be good mentors and having a good relationship between yourself and a mentee. And your life will not be the same as a Toastmaster. Back to you, Toastmaster of the day.
Wow, wow. Let's put our hands together for what Joyce Kibe has shared this evening. Mentorship, a very critical part of our lives, but most of us, most likely, we did not know about mentorship until we joined Toastmasters. But what she has clearly elaborated is mentoring is essential for leadership development. There's always someone who's going to be a step ahead of you that you can learn from, and that can allow you to be empowered in your journey. Even for Joyce, as she speaks about competing against the stalwarts of Dan and Emily, she was able to compete even better the following year. And we celebrate her for being able to show us evidently what she has learned in a consistent pattern, which is one of the things that Toastmasters encourages all of us to pick up. Now, ladies and gentlemen, we are way past our time. I'll probably ask if Rose is around, and if she's around, then we'll have to forego the reports and they will have to be done digitally if we need to listen in. If not, we could possibly also extend the time.
Rose
Extend
is
the time by a
around.
few. Okay, you're around. That's good. So we will do Rose's speech and ask Ebenezer to present and just ensure that we are able to have clarity on that. And then soon enough, Evans will run the polls and then get the better speaker and the better evaluator as we segue on to the evaluations quickly enough. Ebenezer, over to you.
All right, thank you. Whenever I hear the saying killing two birds with one stone, I usually get this unimaginable excitement. Today, I have the same unimaginable excitement because our next speaker is also killing two birds with one stone. The one bird, she is presenting a level 3, project 3, part of our presentation mastery pathway, which focuses on using a presentation software to deliver a speech. And the second bird is completing a presentation from the Successful Club series. And the one stone is the topic, which is keeping the commitment. So, ladies and gentlemen, I present to you on the virtual stage Area Director Rose Dundo, keeping the commitment.
Thank you very much. Could I kindly have sharing rights?
No course, proceed.
Am I good to go?
Yes, proceed, kindly.
Can you see my screen? Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Oh, you can see my
Yes.
screen. Okay. Oops, sorry. Good evening, Toastmasters and distinguished guests. Today we're going to talk about keeping the commitment. Now, my question to you is, how many of you, upon joining Toastmasters, made a commitment in the form of a Toastmasters promise to Toastmasters and also to yourself? We made a promise. Thank you, Makori. I can see that hand. We made a promise to attend meetings regularly. And as we go through these 10 promises, I would ask that we reflect introspectively and confirm to ourselves that we are keeping these promises. The second promise we made is we said, I promise to participate carefully preparing speeches. And I was to do this to the best of my ability. From the speeches you've had today, we can tell that this is being done, I can say across board, as we have a few other clubs represented here today. The next promise we made is fulfilling all assignments. Are we fulfilling our assignments? Again, by emoji. Let me know if we're fulfilling all our assignments. Congratulations to Cedric. Do you have anybody else? Ah, great. Evans, emoji, emoji. How many level 5s do we have here? Can we celebrate them? Ah, fantastic. Let's fill our assignments, right? Let's not be looked after, chased after. Let's do those assignments. It is for our own growth and for our own benefit. We promise ourselves to provide helpful evaluations which are constructive, that would help the speaker to know what they've done well, what they can do better, and where is the challenge for the action that they are to take. Are we doing this? And when we learn from Toastmasters, we are to use this in our own homes and in our offices. Are we doing that? I keep catching myself evaluating the person who works out in the field, not in a sandwich method. So I guess I am also speaking to myself. We promise that I will promote a positive, friendly environment. Again, by thumbs up. How many felt welcome today at Zumaridi as we started the meeting? And how many feel welcome in your own clubs? Again, I can see Makori's hand. Oh, thank you, Grammarian. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Jennifer, thank you. Thank you, thank you. The speaker there, I am grateful. And you are always welcome. We were asked to serve as officers. Can we all give a flower and round of applause to Mr. Evans, who today has served not just as one officer, but as we had in several roles of officers. Can we see those hand claps kindly for Evans? And we say thank you, Evans. We appreciate you. We promised to treat members and guests with respect and with courtesy. Thank you for those flowers. Are we treating each other with respect? I pose this to husbands and wives because this Toastmasters is training us for out there. Today, did you quarrel with your spouse or with your girlfriend or with your boyfriend? Or did you treat them with respect? A boss, did you treat your juniors with respect? Juniors, did you treat your seniors with respect? And how are we treating guests? We need to be very courteous. I promised to bring in guests. How many of us have invited guests today apart from Evans? Again, I like thumbs up so that I can see it easily. How many have invited guests to the meeting today? All right. I know you invite them to your clubs. Can we bring them as we come to visit other clubs as well? Not to raid banners, but to visit. We promised to follow guidelines and rules, especially in relation to the education guidelines of Toastmasters. And we are to go by those rules so that we can improve in our communication and leadership skills. We also promised to observe ethical standards. And what do we mean by ethical standards? Who can tell me what we mean by ethical standards? Maybe you could put it in the chat and I'll ask Evans to read it out for me a bit later if I don't see it. What do we mean by ethical standards in Toastmasters? We have an acronym called RISE, R-I-S-E. But beginning with the I, it would mean Behind the scenes, can I hear what I means? Integrity. I can hear somebody saying it without unmuting. R stands for respect. S stands for service. And E stands for excellence. Can anybody tell me, for our division A, for those who are in division A, what is our theme for this year? Put it in the chat, and if you don't know it, see me behind the tent. I just want to say that Toastmasters Promise is not just a checklist. It is a commitment. It's more like a GPS. It's a direction guiding us on how to go. And every member's speech, every guest that you bring, every level completion that you make, it brings you and the club closer to your goals. Personally, for yourself, as you heard from Cedric, there is a lot of growth. We've heard from the speakers today, awesome ones. Joyce and the rest, there's been very much growth. The first Kangai and Hakau, I was just laughing as I was driving. And this just shows that we have people who are moving forward and who are helping their clubs. And thank you once again to Evans. We have one club where they were having trouble getting speaking slots. He assisted them over the weekend through sacrifice, as we're told, and discipline. And that club is now smedley distinguished. That is the hill, and we congratulate them. As Antoine de Saint-Exupéry said, a goal without a plan is just a wish. You don't need a title to make a difference. But even if you're not in leadership, you can drive success. How? Take a pathway step, complete a level. As Robert Collier reminds us, that success is the sum of small little efforts which you repeat day in and day out, and they become habits, and that propels you to your next level. Can somebody maybe even quickly write in the chat or unmute only one person and tell us what is one thing you've done that has helped you and your club move forward? Anybody who can do that quickly, kindly, in 1 second. I was going to ask Makori. All right.
Okay,
Let me
I'm
go
ready.
on. Yes, can you tell me, can you let us know?
Bannerites. It has helped with camaraderie with other clubs.
Can you clap for them? Although that's a hard one, but let's just clap all the same. Which club is this? It sounds like Simba.
It's Anchored.
Anchored. Oh, okay, great. Thank you so much. We have a social with you in June. So here we are. We've heard that we can do things such as raid banners to get us together. We can also join committees and subcommittees within our clubs. When you see the VPPR struggling and he's tied up, you can help him. At my age, I had to become VPPR and learned how to do posters. Not a mean feat, but I did it anyway. So leadership is practiced not so much in words, but in attitudes and in actions, as we're told by Harold Genin. Visit clubs, get new ideas, get new connections, and motivation. Because as Oliver Wendell Holmes lets us know, that a mind stretched by new experience can never go back to its old dimensions. It's forward ever, and it's backward never. And finally, in conclusion, I would say what Ruyon Nosuke Satoru told us, that individually we are one drop, but together we are an ocean. You are the bridge. And when every member counts, the results will automatically follow, and your club will become unstoppable. The banner raiders are well known. Simba, and now you've had Anchor, I've joined them. There's something that they do, and it's hard to stop them. What are you going to do for your club? Are you going to be for smedding? Are you going to be known for idling? Are you going to be seen at the top? Keep the commitment. Be true to the Toastmasters promise. That is my contribution for today. I would like to get a small response before I close this session. probably in a minute or two, I could get any questions that are there for me to answer or any thoughts that one could have. Anyone in about 1 minute, max? Just unmute and speak. Now, what does that tell me? Are we doing what we promised? I believe we are. Thank you very much. And in the interest of time, let me hand this back to the Toastmaster of the evening. Thank you very
so
much.
Thank you so much, Rose. If we can, kindly, let's see those hand claps coming through. She took us through the theme of the day in such an elaborate stance. Let me explain how she did it. She spoke of values, and the values are tied to RISE. RISE meaning respect, integrity, service, and excellence that we have to embody as Toastmasters. This becomes the GPS, the value system that we have to utilize as we go forth and set our goals. And then our goals are broken down into smaller goals that can be achieved over a period of a year. And we are told to walk in small steps that are so important, because in those small steps, the simple actions we take, you are able to see big results coming through. Thank you so much for that. I want to now segue quickly onto the evaluations, and I would like to bring one after the other, the evaluators, given the time we have, that is of great importance, starting with our first evaluator who evaluated Caroline, and she is Kezabu Maureen. Are you here, Kezabu? If you can, please take the stand and share your feedback. Kezabu?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes, we can now.
You will allow me to, for the case of my evaluation, to first amplify the purpose of the speech. The purpose of this speech was for Caroline to begin developing a collection of humorous stories and present a speech that includes humor. Caroline, I liked the way you engaged us with various stories straight from your expectation of joining KRA to becoming a chicken keeper, that is, you are looking after the chicken, to the story of the heifer named Kangai. That was extremely interesting, and it met well with the purpose of your speech. I also loved the way you engaged variety. I could feel you chase the heifer, run through it. I joined you in the panting, literally. And that was a good thing. I carefully listened, and I was waiting for you to link your title, "Well Done," to your speech. And you did it so well in the conclusion of your speech. Well done once again. I also loved the fact that you kept us all actively attentive, because if one was not attentive, they would easily miss something. What are the areas you could work on? As much as you kept us engaged, I feel you could do better in the delivery of your speech if at all you could try to slow down a bit. Why? Because we address various audiences, and some people in the audience are likely to miss a point when you're rushing through your presentation. Also, you could try to work on the lighting of your stage. We could barely see you. I don't know whether it was part of the humor, but I needed to see you. Or any other person in the audience could have loved to get your voice. I mean your face. What are the areas you could challenge yourself with? One, audience engagement. At the point where you said, guess what I was doing? You could have paused and maybe waited for us to respond a bit, but you rashly answered yourself and went on. I would also have loved your speech if you made some references or even a quote. This gives strength to your speech. Over to you, Toastmaster of the Day.
Ladies and gentlemen, growth happens through feedback, and I'd like to celebrate Kezabu for sharing that first feedback. Secondly, we will move to our next evaluator, Angela Ayebale, who's evaluating George Arroyo.
Thank you. George Arroyo, the currency of time. Your speech was organized. We were able to, you took us through the introduction to the body and lastly the conclusion that was calling us to think about how we use our time and not to have excuses here and there. Your speech had captivating quotes from other authors. It amplified our need to rethink through how we are using our time. Indeed, it helped us to know that time is irrecoverable. The quotes from other speakers really gave your speech weight. It was a clear indicator that you researched very well your topic. What are some of the areas that I think you could improve? While you used personal examples, for instance, telling us how you ate junk food, your brother met you and instead rebuked you. You could also have used an example to explain a statement that you made, busy but not productive. I believe an example would have enabled us to understand what that meant. Could it be that we are busy doing other things instead of focusing on our goals? We missed out on that clarity. Overall, your speech was aligned to your title, very structured, and seamlessly taking us from one area to another. The quotes made it strong, and I believe if you use more examples in your upcoming speeches, they will be more inspiring or captivating to the audience. TMOD.
Thank you so much, Angela, for that very concise and detailed evaluation. I'd like to now segue on to our third evaluator, and that's Rahma Salim, who is evaluating Cedric Ondechi. Rahma, are you with us?
Yes, I am with you, Toastmaster of the evening. Good evening, fellow Toastmasters and honored guests. Toastmasters Journey is a self-paced platform, and Toastmaster Cedric has confirmed this to us through dedication, commitment, and resilience he shared with us, and was able to complete an entire pathway within less than 1 year. Congratulations to you, Toastmaster Cedric. What did I like about your speech? One, I like the way you were so detailed, exactly with the date you presented your speeches. From the first one, the icebreaker speech, to the last project, the panel discussion speech. And the way you were knowledgeable about the importance of delivering each level to all of us. This benefits all of us. The nuggets of wisdom you shared has benefited all of us. You shared the challenges, the achievements, the setbacks, the strength and the weakness you were able to, and this has made you to complete the purpose of the project. Two, I like your stage presence and the use of hand gestures frequently in your speech. These skills are not only nice to have them, but also they directly shape how your message is received, understood, and remembered by the audience. Lastly, I like the call to action you shared to us and the challenges you have put them across. You shared the 3C with us, which is confidence, commitment, and courage that are highly built in Toastmaster. To take your speech to greater heights, consider these recommendations. 1. Consider crafting the title of your speech to be provoking and concise. The title of your speech was From a Guest to Growth, My Toastmasters Journey. That is a long title. Consider using the first part could be sufficient only. From a guest to growth. That is a provoking title. 2. Consider pulling up yourself immediately after the pauses. You paused a lot, as this help us internalize the content of your speech. But I noticed that most of the time you paused for a while. It's like you forgot what you said, then what you wanted to say. All in all, I really enjoyed the reflection, and you can proceed to the next part.
Thank you so much, Rahma. Thank you so much for that. I'd like to now bring the evaluations to a close by asking Ebenezer to be our final evaluator, presenting their feedback. Ebenezer, over to you.
Thank you. In the world of conferences and meetings, there exists a common jargon form of a 3-word phrase: death by PowerPoint. It's never funny when you're subjected to it, but today we can laugh and joke about it because Rose did not kill us, but rather killed it. It being the topic of keeping commitment. Why do I say so? First of all, she followed one of the most important principles of presentation: one slide, one idea, one point. For example, when she was on the second slide talking about participation, she only had 1 point per click. The points were attendance, speeches, and taking roles. So by following the one slide, one idea, and 1 point, she brought clarity in each part of her message. Secondly, she excelled at visual hierarchy. Imagine Kangai the cow and Kangai the girl running. Who would you see first, even if you don't know who is mad? Definitely Kangai the cow, because it's bigger. The same way with presentation, the bigger chunk of your message receives bigger or easier attention. So she did that by the first, or at least the upper part of the presentation being bigger visually, and then the sub-ideas being smaller in fonts and principle. Thirdly, which is the last but not least part of the recommendation, she applied a strong contrast and font choices, making it easier for those who are reading on the other end to follow through. That said, I have 2 suggestions to amplify your presentation journey. The first one is visuals. Since you're already using a presentation, there is an opportunity to leverage visual storytelling. So for example, when she was talking about quality, adding a visual that engages the eye makes it easier for the message to stick and land. So beyond the visuals, that which we can read, which she is reading as well, by having a photo, a visual aspect, it makes the message to stick. And then speaking of messages to stick, I have a second suggestion, which is storytelling. Imagine if you had anchored that presentation to a particular story that you've personally committed to. And then as you proceed with that story, you wove in a particular aspect, like when you're talking about fellowship, when you're talking about meeting quality, when you're talking about ideas of having a great meeting, and then you throw that into that story. It will make your message far more memorable. All in all, that was a great show of mastery using presentation software, which was brought home by a strong application of presentation principles. And with a room of growth in visuals and storytelling, it will not only make your message land, but also stick. And in conclusion, I hoped all of us in the room, the audience, picked at least one thing from Rose's presentation so that instead of killing people with our presentation, we kill it. We make our message land. We make our message stick. Back to you, Mr. Tiamodi.
Thank you so much, Makori, for that succinct and detailed evaluation. I'd like to ask the SA, if you may, please run the polls that are so essential at this point in time. Can we be able to do that?
Yes, Mr. TMD. Start with the best speaker poll.
The better speaker. Kindly, let's vote as quickly as we can. We're 20 of us in here. Let's vote as quickly as possible. Who is the better speaker? Who is the better speaker? We are running through. Let's just do this very quickly. I'm seeing 7 of you have voted. We still have a couple of more. Kindly do vote so that we can move and segue quickly. And apologies, we are past our time, but if you may indulge us for another 10 minutes and we will be done. Let's keep this going. We are at 9. We are 10. Let's do. If you haven't voted, let's vote. Let's vote. 3 more votes coming in. And we are about to close. Thank you. We have a winner. Let's move to the other poll. So we have a better speaker selected.
Table topics.
Table topics, let's do that. That's Baron, Faith, and Rachel. Let's do that very quickly. Let's do that. Thank you so much. I think we are nearly at a close. 4 more votes and we are done. Let's do this. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for your indulgence. And we have good responses. Thank you. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. We have closed the poll as we speak.
We have the evaluators poll. Final.
Sorry?
The
We have
evaluators
that.
poll.
Okay, so evaluators poll. Let's do that. Who is the better evaluator? Kindly vote through. Let's vote. The vote is relevant and really important. As you vote for every small thing you do every day, it's the same way as voting. The power of a vote is so critical in encouraging and just making sure that we are moving forward. 10 of us have voted, 4 more. The 4 of us who have their fingers either in a bowl of soup or something else. Thank you. 11 total responses. Thank you very much. We have a clear winner. Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to now segue on, because time is not on our side, to Sharon, the grammarian, who will quickly, if you may, Sharon, run us through your report as quickly as you can. At the same time, I'd like Jennifer to share her report on chat as opposed to stating it. So Sharon, over to you.
Thank you so much, TMOD. First of all, I would like to congratulate everyone for the excellent use of the language. You've really amplified my role as the grammarian. You made it easy, actually, as a first-timer grammarian. I would like to note that the word of the day has been used 16 times in total. Big up to the TMOD, Edwin Moindi, who used it most of the times that were recorded, 6 times altogether. That aside, I would also like to note the excellent use of the language, whereby I noted some phrases that really caught my attention. I'll give a shout out to TM Arogo, who gave us a quotation from Zig Ziglar. Also, I loved his figure of speech of procrastination, whispering later, but discipline saying now. Then our TMOD, it was also outstanding the way you use your language, especially when you mentioned, when you were referring to TM Kirimi, that she was being protected from the travails of young and exorbitant life, which stems from the friction between the intense optimism and the inevitable harsh realities of growing up. That will be all for now due to time. Thank you so much. Back to you, TMOD.
Thank you so much for being succinct and precise in your delivery. Grammarian Sharon Kyomugisha. Let's put our hands together for her. I'd like to now move over to Fiona. Fiona, how many R's and N's have we used? Over to you.
Thank you very much, TMOD. I'll go straight to the point since we are pressed for time. I generally want to say that everybody in this meeting who has made the effort to speak did really well. I hardly picked up R's and M's, but just to be a little more specific, I'll say, Kangai, very well done. You are great with your speech, with your delivery. Your speech delivery was great, and I hardly picked any R's and M's except for one word that I think is a Kenyan slang. It's see. I heard you say, see, he told me. And I thought that was a crutch word that you used right there. Then somewhere I heard you repeat, it was. But I believe that repetition was largely because you are a fast speaker. I guess if you slowed down a bit, then it would probably not happen. Otherwise, you did well. Cedric, I do not know if it was my internet, but I noticed you used your pauses quite well. And like we said earlier, or like we've all had, pauses help us deal with those crutch words. Thank you very much, Cedric. Baron, my president from Zumaridi Toastmasters, very good delivery of a table topic there. I only picked like and as well. But in Uganda, like is that crutch word we throw everywhere. Baron said they look at you like that's not normal. I thought it would probably have sounded as it would have sounded better if he'd said they look at you as though you are not normal. I'd like to encourage all of us to look out for that word like. And I enjoyed your presentation. Encourage you to listen to yourself and try to catch the word so and. I think so and are your problem words. They keep showing up uninvited. Joyce also shared I think Joyce Kibe. No, Faith Postbor is not the one who presented, who delivered a presentation. She delivered a table topic. Joyce is the one who delivered a presentation, and at some point she said about, I think she was trying to encourage the TMOD to say something. And I think because she was trying to buy a bit of time, she ended up using A, which confirmed what the TMOD said at the start. Clarity of thought is usually shown in the clarity of our speeches. It was very understandable because you were trying to buy time and set up the presentation. So you ended up saying, TMOD, tell us about, and then yeah, right there was the crutch word. Additionally, I think you also have a bit of a problem with so I kept picking it up in your statements. I would encourage you to start to listen to yourself more and catch that so word. And as well. Otherwise, we all generally spoke really well. I'm impressed and challenged to continue working on my soles and arms. I hope in this particular delivery I have done well. Back to you, TMOD.
Thank you so much for that. I don't know if Jennifer will share the report or would want to speak. I'm not sure on her response.
TMOD, I would like to speak and I'll
do.
summarize in the interest of time.
Please do.
On the whole, I would like to express my disappointment. There's a little bit of not keeping to the standards of time. However, I would like to appreciate the table topic speakers who tried to keep within time. Most of them kept within time. Baron, 1.42 seconds. Faith Bosbori, 1 minute and 0.5 seconds. Wairimu, 1 minute and 27 seconds. That was within time. Then when it comes to the main speeches, it was only one person who complied with the time standards, speaking for 7 minutes and 9 seconds, and that was George Arogo, while the rest of the speakers were out of range. Caroline, 8 minutes, 43 seconds. Cedric, 10 minutes, 50 seconds. Rose Odundo, 11 minutes and 7 seconds, because the standard time is supposed to lie between 5 minutes and 7 seconds, and then grace period of 30 seconds extra. Then finally, for the evaluators, it was only 2 evaluators who kept within time. That is Angela Yebari speaking for 2 minutes and 55 seconds, and Ebenezer speaking for 2 minutes, 46 seconds. While the other 2 evaluators, that is Maureen, you exceeded by 12 seconds of the grace period. And then Salim, you exceeded by only 5 seconds of the grace period. Over to you, TMOD. Thank you.
Thank you so much for breaking it down for us. There's a lot of room for us to improve. Having said that, that is the reason why we're in Toastmasters, to keep learning, to keep improving. I'd like to now push this baton to the general evaluator to bring us to the understanding of what we have done well and what we need to improve. Helen, if you may, please take the baton.
All right, thank you, TMOD, and allow me speak without the video. In the interest of time, I will share the detailed report with Evans, who was today's presiding officer. But in summary, what did I love about meeting 1-to-1 for Zumaridi? I loved the preparation. All roles were filled ahead of the meeting, way ahead of the meeting, in fact, and the agenda and meeting links shared with us in advance. I particularly loved how the presiding officer introduced the TMOD. It was so articulate. It showed that he had taken time to get to know who the TMOD is. From the TMOD perspective, so many things stood out for me, but I will mention only two. I loved how you precisely, correctly, and every other thing right, how you pronounced all the role takers' names. For me, it showed good preparation and effort that you took to know how the different names are pronounced and not come to the meeting and tell us, oh, sorry if I'm mispronouncing your name. So very well done. I've also loved how you've managed to steer this meeting despite the different challenges of changing agenda, speakers are still in commute and not yet ready. The tag team confidently amplified their roles and relevance to this meeting. Well done. As speakers tonight, a good number of them were well organized and joined the meeting on time, with the exceptions of a few. That said, what would have made this meeting greater? One, the agenda was too packed. So many speeches, but most importantly, so many long speeches. I suggest that next time you optimize and have a balanced agenda, balance the short and long speeches to help us manage time. Speakers are encouraged to join on time and ask for sharing rights where required. I noticed this took away some minutes from us, whereas if the members had joined earlier, we would have managed despite the number of speeches. The change in the agenda communication wasn't done well, and this provided a little mishap, but kudos to you, TMOD, for quickly picking on and steering the ship in the right direction. Overall, I enjoyed the meeting, and I will share the detailed report of my observations together with my recommendations with Evans, who was the presiding officer for this meeting. Thank you, and back to you, TMOD.
Thank you so much, General Evaluator. Let's put our hands together for the General Evaluator, Helen, for having broken down to the atomic level what needs to be improved and the things that she saw were of great value. Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to wrap up my segment by quickly just diving into the intention and theme of today. Allow me, if you may. Now, there's one very important thing that has to come alive for us today, and those are our values. Many of us might be able to recite our values word for word. Many of us have grown up in environments where we're in schools or we work for organizations where values can be recited. We can talk about them, we can explain them, we can even teach about them. But the question is, does your life reflect your values? Now, I remember one time when I was very uncomfortable about this thing, where I could say I value growth, but I wasn't actually studying or reading. Where I said I value discipline, but I delayed and procrastinated a lot. Where I said I value becoming better, but I chose comfort at most times. Today, we have seen very wonderful speeches that have shown us the need for us to reside permanently next to our values, but related to something else. Let me explain why. We have to confront a very important truth. We're not living by our values if we are not showing it in our habits. And yes, we all have values, we all have intentions, we all have set goals, and some of them are really strong and stringent. But your life is not shaped by what you intend, it is shaped by what you repeatedly do. Let that settle in. We don't struggle because we don't know we know. But between knowing and doing, there's a gap. And that gap is execution. And it has been well founded today. Goals fade, discipline weakens, and values become ideas. So we have to make this decision, not a big one, but a small one. Instead of trying to change everything, I ask you today, why not do the small things? Sweat the small things. You've been taught in Toastmasters that projects beget projects, and projects done together beget a level, and levels beget you having done a pathway. What is a small thing you can do today that proves that your value is real? Is it that one page that you can read? Is it that one step you can take? Is it that one pause before you speak? Is it that one action? And slowly, something will begin to change. Not just what you do, but who you are becoming, because that's what we need to go back to. Remember, your values beget your goals, and your goals beget micro habits. If your goal cannot become a habit, it will never become a result. So tonight we move from I will try harder to I will make it easier to act. From intensity to consistency. And that's what we've been shown. Because we don't build habits through intensity, we build them through repetition. Make it small, make it specific, and attach it to a trigger. Tell yourself, after I do this, I will do this, which is the action. Because habits don't need motivation, they need structure. And the structure we have in Toastmasters is a wonderful one, and we can use it. But remember, every small action is a vote, and I ask you to vote wisely. One page, you're a reader. One walk, you're disciplined. One pause, you're in control. So you're not just doing something, you're becoming someone. And over time, those small actions become your identity. So tonight, do not live with 10 ideas. Do not live overwhelmed. Live with one value, one goal, one micro habit. Don't live inspired, live decided. Because your future is not built in big moments, it's built in small habits, repeated daily. Ladies and gentlemen, it's been an honor serving you tonight. I'd like to pass the baton back to the presiding officer today.
Wow, what a wonderfully run session. Kindly give it up one more time for TMOD, life coach, David coach, TMOD, Edwin Moindi. Getting Edwin is actually should be put up there with fighting the lions. Getting his time is actually difficult. He's a very busy man. Thank you all. The TMD talking about habits that we need to amplify to become better versions of ourselves, choosing growth over comfort. Eddie Rose talking about principles and values of Toastmasters. Just Kiba giving us tips on mentorship. Cedric giving a speech on his growth in Toastmasters. Kangai, what a humorous speech he gave us. I hope you're going to TCON. That is that is international worthy speech that you gave there, and all the role takers. Wow, wow. Toastmasters from Bugolobi actually helped me fill half of our roles today. Thank you. That was wonderful support, and we will be actually reciprocating the same to you guys. That support does not go unnoticed. Thank you all for your wonderful time. I would like to give one member from Bugolobi time to speak. Is Kizabi with us? Kizabi, if you'd like to say a word or two.
Hello, I'm sorry I'm on the road. Can I nominate my president, Baron Ochola, to say something?
Is Baron still here with us? I think he left something. Or Sharon,
Okay,
or Sharon can.
if he's not,
Okay.
I would like to thank you for giving us the opportunity to grow in your club, and that is through the various roles that you gave us. And it was a very good meeting. I really loved it. And for my speaker in particular, her speech was amazing. I couldn't stop laughing. And yes, I look forward to more meetings with you and to maybe one day come and visit you in person, to visit the club in person. Yeah, thank you. And Bugolobi has 2 meetings in a month. The physical meeting is at the last Friday of the month, but the online one is scheduled every second day of the month. So I'll be sharing with you the link maybe, and you join us. Thank you. Over to you, SAA.
Thank you so much. We'll be more than happy to join you on your next meeting. Kindly do share the link in good time. We had our guest, Werimo, who wanted to speak earlier but did not get the time. Werimo, are you still with us?
Yes, I'm still with you. I arrived home safely. I'm glad.
What has been your experience tonight? And how did you hear of our club?
This is my very first time here, but I've attended a few physical meetings, and I feel like this was really helpful. I'm still processing. I really enjoyed, and I appreciate those that are doing this thing. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Hopefully you'll become a member of Toastmasters soon. Toastmasters has a lot to offer. Faith Busibori, would like to share a word or two with us? Our evaluator tonight, Ebenezer Makori. How's your experience been? I know this is not the first time we're attending one of our meetings.
Indeed, that's true. Wow, I have a lot of things to say, but like a typical Toastmaster, I have 3. Number 1, the TMOD. Awesome, fantastic as always. Number 2, the presentation, both from Madam President and Eddie Rose. As always, the wisdom that you possess, that you share, invaluable. And then last but not least, the quality of the meeting. It was absolutely fantastic, marvelous. Loved it, enjoyed it, and everything in between. Back to you, Evans.
Thank you for those kind words. We are very much humbled. Eddie Rose, if you'd like to give closing remarks, we'll not want to keep our good guests and fellow Toastmasters any longer. Time is spent.
Thank you very much to our presiding officer of the evening, Evans. The TMOD, I lack words. I've known Edwin for a while when I was much younger from church, if you will remember. Thank you very much, Evans. Edwin, my family know him better than I do, and they are marveled at your growth. They keep in touch. Thank you all for coming. The Ugandans, for those who are going to TICON, will pass through Uganda. If I'm in that team, I hope some of you will be on board. We just want to say thank you. I just want to ask that we be, as much as possible, we be involved. I'm talking especially to those in Zumaridi. Let's step up and be a bit more visible. We've gone through the promise today, so all the clubs kindly, let's support each other so that we can grow individually and even as Toastmasters. I would also like to remind us that we have an area director who is coming, an international director who will visit Kenya on the 11th and 12th of May. And there will be some engagements around that at Strathmore University. If we can keep an eye on our messages that will come through, and please just plug in where you can. He'll be on his way to Rwanda. As you know, May 15th to 17th, there's TICON in Rwanda. Again, you are invited to attend. As Zumaridi, we will have a social event with ANCAT in June. We are still to hear the date, again, you are all welcome. As area director, I have several clubs. There's Runda, which is going to have their open house on Saturday at Elysian Resort in Runda. I invite all of you. It will start from 11 and it will go all the way to about 2:30. The big wigs that you talked about will be there. Syria Rama, the other gentleman who has many languages. I've forgotten his name right now because of the pressure of time. But we also welcome to that. Let's support one another and indeed let us grow. Thank God we didn't have a banner to be raided. Otherwise, it would have gone to Uganda today. Thank you so much. And back to you, Evans.
Good one. If it was a raid, I'm sure Bugolobi will have carried our banner tonight. Thank you all. For the polls, the best speaker for tonight goes to Caroline Kangai. Let give it up for Caroline. For the table topics, best table topics goes to President Baron Ochola. He's also the newly elected division director, the division D or E. There have been so many divisions recently. Also, congratulations on his new election for the new post. For best evaluators for award goes to Ebenezer Makori. Give it up for Ebenezer. So I believe all the three are in our meeting planning group. Your certificate will be awarded in our subgroup. We'll kindly be on the lookout. And in Toastmasters, as we say, there are no losers, but there is always an opportunity for growth. Thank you all for joining us this evening. It has been wonderful. See you on the next one. Thank you all. Good night. If you will be kind enough to unmute, switch on your cameras, say a word or two as you leave. It has been wonderful having you tonight. Thank you so much.
Thank you for the invitation and good night
Thank
to
you
you.
for having
A
me.
lovely night, everyone. It was a pleasure.
Thank you. And Winfred, you can join us. Wairimo.
Thank
night,
you
everyone.
all.
Thank you.
Thank you so
Good
much
night.
for the pleasure and privilege of being your grammarian. My first time as grammarian, I appreciate. Thank you for the opportunity.
Next time
Well
too.
done. Well done.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Have a good one. And you're welcome to Blue Eagles.
Of course. Do share the details of the next meeting.